Before we start today's podcast, I do have to mention, Dave, we've talked about it before. We've kind of got a partner out there with Marcom Complete. We asked him to put together a logo for us. Not only did he put the logo together, but he gave us all kinds of files and JPEGs and stuff that I don't know, ESP, and I don't know. So we've got all that stuff.
That was very nice of him.
Yes, it was. Well, he didn't do it for free, but he did it for the value of his work, and for what I paid or what we paid was phenomenal. So, if you get a chance, Dave, and everybody listening, make sure you head over to Marcom Complete. That's MARCOM Complete.com. And if you are looking to do a little bit of marketing, especially on social media and stuff like that, reach out to Mike. He did a great job for us. In today's podcast, we kind of teased this last week. We went over to 151 bar and restaurant.
No longer Firestone.
No longer, nope. Due to legality issues. So anyway, we went over and we talked to Kevin. Kevin is like, if they gave out doctorates in beer, this guy would hold 6 doctorates. No joke. I mean, he just hit us with so much knowledge.
I was blown away.
My head's still spinning. We had to have him on. So without further ado, today's guest is Kevin, and we're at 151 Bar and Restaurant. Without further ado, Kevin from 151.
The Capital Brew Podcast with 20 North Dave and Nick Lee. What's brewing in the 518?
All right, Dave. So, like I said last week, we sat down with Kevin. Today, we've got Kevin here with us. Kevin, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, no, dude. Thank you for being on our show.
You gave me a lot to live up to with the kind words. I appreciate it.
We're just a couple guys who enjoy. We're connoisseurs, if you will, when it comes to beer. You, sir, are a scientist.
Thousands and thousands of hours spent studying and
you've got books
and mastering my craft.
We've got books here. Yeah. We've got notes, and not only that, you've brought in your personal stash.
Yeah, I brought a couple. I brought one unicorn in, and a couple other just my favorites for you guys to try today. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Me too. I'm super excited. What about you?
I like beer.
All right, so let's try our first beer.
All right, cool. So the first one I got, I'm a big bourbon and barrel aged.
I forgot to mention that the beers that you did bring today, both you and I are bourbon. I know you're a whiskey guy.
Scotch generally.
Scotch too.
Yep.
So the three of us, not only do we like our beers, but we like some of our well liquors too. And today we're marrying those two. No?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I personally drink this year round. I mean, and it's a nice cool day. It rained. We had a nice hurricane that cooled it off a little bit. Normally I wouldn't drink something like this when it was 100 degrees out, but being like 75 degrees and being a little cooler of a day is actually pretty good. And any time is good for a nice, high gravity Scotch ale or bourbon aged stout or anything like that. So I'm a big fan of all those.
Yeah, it's a great thing about 151 too is that we're indoors right now because the doors are open, and it's like sitting outside in the shade.
Absolutely. So the first one I have is Founders Backwoods Bastard. Now Founders has always been kind of like, they were the original really best bourbon barrel aging program in the world. They have this whole cave in Grand Rapids, Michigan that they just keep all the barrels under, and they've been doing this for a long time. And KBS was the first one they really came out with. KBS was Kentucky Breakfast Stout, aged in bourbon barrels, and everybody went crazy for that. You couldn't get the beer. It was $9 a bottle, the whole thing. Now it's more readily available. You can find it anywhere you go or any Bev Center. But my actual favorite from them is actually their Backwoods Bastard. It's a Scotch ale, a strong Scotch ale, or a wee heavy, as they put it. To me, it's like the perfect beer for barrel aging. Scotch ales or wee heavies they're really malt forward. They only lightly hop their beers in Scotland, partially because maybe they're mad at England. They don't want to give them the hop business, whatever, but they really don't have their own commercial hops at all.
It's like a Braveheart thing.
Yeah, exactly. It goes right back to William Wallace, right?
I was going to say, there's
absolutely.
a going.
Sticking it to
exactly. They still got that grudge still today.
Freedom.
Right. But they actually make some of the most delicious high gravity beers and really malty and stuff like that. So anything that's really malty goes great with the bourbon because hops just do not. You're going to age this stuff for a year in a bourbon barrel, and hops break down over time. So it doesn't really work too well when you age hops in bourbon. So you're looking for stouts. You're looking for wee heavies. You're looking
Ales.
for Belgian ales, stuff like that isn't too hop heavy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And English hops in general. I mean, you look at Fuggles and some of the other hops. They're very light hops, so they're not going to really, they're not like the American West Coast
Like
hops.
they're not in your face. You know.
They're not piney and citrusy and going to blow your, blow your well. So these are all just really. I mean, these wee heavies are almost actually. They're actually almost modeled after a Burton Ale, which a Burton Ale in Scotland was more of a barley wine than anything like that. So it's almost like a lightly hopped barley wine that you have with these high volume liquor and everything like that. So they did this. This is aged in a bourbon for a year, and give it a shot, guys. You're going to find a lot of good stuff. You're going to get a little smokiness out of this. Everything.
I like our chalice.
That goes great.
Bottoms up.
Really, really malty. What's that? Just a goblet.
Goblet. I instantly, as I go with the probably because of the shape of the glass, but it forces the flavor kind of towards your nose before you even take that first sip, and instantly it was like caramel.
Yeah, I was going to say almost like a chocolatey initial flavor. It didn't finish like that.
No, it's weird. You're right. It's got like almost a mapley chocolate flavor to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very. I mean, not high carbonation.
No,
I mean,
not
you really get this, and you get the bourbon on the back end. And you get that slow burn going down to your stomach.
Now this one's like the tapsters that we were talking about before. They're kind of low in high in alcohol content, low in
hops.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Kind of finishes a little dry as well. I figured it would be kind of sweet.
Yes.
But it is not as sweet as I anticipated.
Right, and this is 11% alcohol. So I mean, this is definitely.
It'll get your motor running.
I'll tell you, in the wintertime, I used to have one of these, go home after a long night of work and jump in the hot tub and have one of those. I slept like a baby every single time.
Now, is this something over on the other side of the pond that they would serve warm?
I mean, normally you want this about 50 degrees. I would say 50 to 55 at the highest. I let these breathe, obviously, for a little while, so we're probably a little bit higher or a little bit lower than normal. But as you let these kind of sit, you will get more flavors, a little more characteristics from them. Definitely get some vanilla in here.
Yep,
caramel.
I definitely get that burn you're talking about,
Yep.
like, almost like when you're doing a little straight liquor.
Yeah, it's got an instant burn, and then not instant burn, but it's got a little bit of a heat to it in the beginning, and it mellows right out.
Right. So again, like
Very
I said,
smooth.
I took these out maybe 20 minutes
A little
before
smokiness.
we open them, poured a little bit, let it sit. But definitely the snifter is the right glass for this because again,
You're letting
swish
it breathe.
around. You have your hand on a snifter; it actually helps warm
Warms
up
it.
the beer
Yep.
a little bit. You know what I mean? You're almost treating this like a wine.
Easy.
While I'm milking my beer here, we'll talk a little bit about 151 and your mission to help support local breweries during the COVID pandemic, this COVID era that we're in. I think that's awesome. Right. My girlfriend and I try to at least once a week go out somewhere and help a local restaurant, help local businesses. Tell us a little bit of the idea behind that.
Well, when we first reopened, there wasn't a lot of beer out there.
Available,
yeah. Right. So, Decreasing was actually really great as far as helping us reopen. They did a great job. They cleaned our beer lines when we were closed. They picked up all our products that we ordered after March 1st with no questions. And I have to say they actually went above and beyond with that. And we found out, I had to come in here and work at 3 o'clock, and we found out at 10 minutes of 3 that we were going to be open the next day on Thursday. So it was a Wednesday. Thursday, all of a sudden we found out. And it was just complete panic and everything like that. So, okay, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, let's get our, we need staff on. We're going to get, crushed. What's going on? We got our table set up. We got staff called in. We did the whole thing. And Decreasing was there at 3:15 to say, hey, what do you need? What kind of beer? So I was thinking about it beforehand. I said, you know what, we got to support because our neighbors, breweries, they were doing just takeout and growlers and all this other stuff. I said, let's just support local right now, and let's support Mad Jack. Let's support Great Flats. Frog Alley is kind of a sister bar to us, so we've always supported them. But I said, let's just stick with New York beers right now. And Decreasing's got a great portfolio, so we gave them a lot of the lines, and they've been, we got a great rep down here with Brian McDonald. So he's really done a great job with me, meeting with me, like, hey, listen, And there's been a lot of out of stocks, and there's challenges because they can't get production right now. Mm-hmm. So I give them a lot of credit because they're working really hard to try to get us whatever they possibly can for local beers, and they've given us some great options, and we're really happy. And the way I look at my draft lineup is I want something for everybody. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you look at styles, you look at everything, and they've got a good array of everything. And that, along with our friends at Great Flats and Frog Alley, have been awesome. So, I mean, Mad Jack's distributed through DiCrescenti, but Billy's got some awesome beers down there now, and they keep getting better and better as time goes on. So, I think, you don't have to go too far to find great beer around here, and we're just trying to support them as much as we can right now. I think it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, as well as that, I think I want to say you had mentioned that it's coming from New York, so it's not coming from out of state. Where you have to worry less about what it might entail from being from another state. That way, right? Exactly. That's another thing about having everything from New York. I think it's a wise decision.
Do you have to quarantine a keg if it comes from a?
14 days.
That's pretty funny. But I will say, we know we're getting stuff fresh, and we know that stuff's not sitting around. Yeah. And I like the fact that they're out of stock. Yeah. That means that they're not letting kegs sit for 6 months and just trying to push out old product. So I do appreciate the fact that, I do trust DiCrescenti in that aspect. They're not just pushing out old beer. Mm-hmm. So that the quality aspect is a big factor. And like I said, we have a great draft system. We DiCrescenti cleans it. Our beer is cold, and everything tastes great. We were lucky that we were able to push through the volume that we had during the break, doing growlers and fills and stuff like that. So we really didn't have any unfresh beer here.
Yeah.
And that's
also,
really
a testament to the fact that you can get beers, you can get your across-the-board beers from New York, saying to yourself, now there's so many good breweries that you don't have to go anywhere else. You can get a full array of any kind of beer you need or want.
Styles,
all
as we were
from
talking
New York.
about.
I mean, we realized, 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, that was not a possibility.
It's really interesting because I think I told you guys this last week. I said 10 years ago, people used to go into a bar and say, hey, what's your IPA? So that was the thing. Everybody knew that you were going to have Sam Adams Boston Lager. They knew that you were going to have Blue Moon. They knew this whole thing. But the oddball was, what was your IPA?
Yeah.
So now, as time went on, local beers and breweries started popping up in the last 7-8 years.
And now people are asking.
So people were asking, hey, what do you have on tap local?
That's something that Dave talked about in episode 1.
Right. So now we're at the point. So now you have to have. You're missing the boat if you don't have a couple local brews on tap.
Yeah.
So, hey, I've got this local whatever.
Now, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
With the talent that we have here locally.
Right. Now, as time goes on, craft beer drinkers are grazers. Mm-hmm. We don't like the same thing twice. I walk into a bar and I see just option. What haven't I had? I don't care what style it is. A lot of times, I'm like, okay, haven't had that. Let me try this. Whatever it is. Have you? Next door, they've got a beer that's modeled after seltzer. Got to try it, right? I mean, just anything that's
new.
Not
anything new.
Right, anything new is sexy. So the question isn't what everybody knows you have local stuff now. Now the question is, what do you have new on tap? My regulars walk in, Kev, what do you got new? You know what I mean? And what we're trying today, these bourbon aged beers. Now we will get back to normal someday, and I will get these beers back on tap. But I usually carry one of these, like a bourbon aged beer. And I do $10 for a 10-ounce pour, and we don't really make much money on it because they are very expensive to carry.
You don't need much more than 10-ounce pour.
Right, but some people are looking for that oddball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have that. I want everything from a Miller Lite to a Backwoods Bastard.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people are so headed in that one direction with IPAs that they don't even think about these beers that we're tasting today as being even on their radar for beers you'd want to do. And really, they're excellent beers, and they're just as worthy as any IPA that's out there. But it's it's perception. People don't even think about something that's bourbon aged beer. It's not even on their radar, as I said before.
Right. Absolutely.
I think people should think and look for something other than that, because these beers do deserve their just. They're just due.
Sometimes you got to just try and jump the shark, Dave. And there's our happy days.
I knew you had to throw that in there somewhere.
There's our happy days reference.
As I said, Eric, my partner just loves using that term.
And I think that's what today's podcast should be called: is jumping the shark.
That's why we had to bring you
exactly,
in.
Right.
You're our shark.
Episode 4, we've already jumped the shark.
Jump the shark.
Exactly.
It's all downhill from here, unfortunately.
All I think it was episode 1.
Yeah, right. We started from the bottom.
So what do we got next?
Funny. So next we're going to go Dave's route with a little Scotch barrel
All right.
aged Dragon's Milk Reserve. Scotch barrel aged stout with marshmallow and dark chocolate.
What is the brewer of
This
that?
is it's New Holland. This
New
is
Holland.
based out of Michigan, New Holland, Michigan, actually. And they have their regular Dragon's Milk, which is a great bourbon aged stout that's readily available. It's one that I used to go to when I couldn't get KBS and some of these other ones that are really hard to get. And they do a great job. They really do. But here, this is the whole idea of this beer. Is summertime campfire, you're late night, you're sitting around, they've got marshmallow in this, you're going to get the smoke of the peat, and that's what they want you to envision. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if this matches up. I mean, I think it does pretty well, but you're going to get a little marshmallow, you're definitely going to get some peat, a little smoke. Yes, definitely some vanilla. We'll see how you guys like this one.
Ooh, that's hearty, flavorful. It's not. I don't taste that. This is another 11% alcohol, 11% beer. No,
this is 11. Yep.
All right. I don't get that warm hit.
It's a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
I'd say
a little bit smoother,
thicker.
I taste the marshmallow.
Yep.
It's a
Marshmallow.
robust.
That's it, right?
Yes,
Marshmallow.
I don't get much smoke myself. I don't know if you guys do at all.
I smell it. I
Yeah.
definitely smell it. It's below that vanilla smell, and little hint of smoke. And then when I taste the marshmallow.
I taste
Chocolate.
almost like a smoky flavor after you take a sip, like a smoky, like charred wood.
Like it's in your throat, almost like
Yes.
when you eat barbecue
Yeah.
and you got the little
Yeah.
bit of that
Yeah.
smoke
Yes.
left over.
Yeah.
I'm getting that a little bit now. I agree.
It's so good.
It is good.
So-
They do a nice job with this.
You would seem to know, and these are the kind of, I think, if there's a beer that you were going to pair with food, what would you pair these beers with? At least the first two that we're talking
And they're
about.
definitely similar beers. Like
Yeah.
they're definitely in the
Right.
same.
So all
you
these
know,
beers, I would definitely smoke a cigar with. These are definitely, you're sitting in a brandy snifter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a smoke the cigar, end your night type beer.
It's like an
Right.
after dinner
Yeah.
beer. You wouldn't want to probably eat.
It's a cordial
something
Now,
with it.
beer.
Yeah,
it-
it's almost like that.
It does go well with, I mean, a nice ribeye steak.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I was thinking
caramelization of a
beef.
steak, stuff like that, it really complements this kind of stuff.
I'd actually use these beers to cook with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a
You know,
sauce
maybe
or-
something like a steak with like a béarnaise.
Yeah, I mean, this would go well with banana bread.
Oh,
Right.
that is very true.
That's a really good one that would go well
It's
with
a
What
good
about
dessert
zucchini
beer.
bread?
What's that?
What
Zucchini
about
bread?
zucchini bread? Well, my mom just made some, so I figured
She just
I'd
made
take a
wouldn't-
stab at it.
I wouldn't doubt it. It'd probably go great.
Right?
But yeah, anything kind of sweet bread, a dessert, it would go really well with. Also, smoked sausage. You got a nice kielbasa. I mean,
Yeah.
the smokiness, again, if they
And the
complement each other.
spiciness.
There's different schools of thought. I mean, there's, you want to complement or contrast.
Or- oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Yep.
I mean, what do you like best? I mean, chicken wings is a perfect example. Spicy chicken wings go great with an IPA because it actually accentuates
Yeah.
the hops,
citrus and-
the
yeah.
hops actually accentuate the spiciness.
Yeah.
So it actually, it's a great, a great comparison. But then an
the citrus
IPA,
of the hot sauce, I think, really pops too.
yeah,
so.
absolutely. And an IPA actually goes great with a classic example here, and this is really cliche for me to say for the beer geek world, but the carrot cake with cheese, the
Cream cheese frosting.
Cream cheese frosting. That is a classic IPA.
Yeah.
And you never think those two would go. I actually stumbled upon something one time. I was drinking a Fuller's Porter, an English porter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I made shrimp scampi.
Oh, there you go.
And you wouldn't believe that the garlic came out more because the carbonation cuts the fat of the dish, and like the chocolate actually came out in the beer more, and it was garlic and
So
chocolate. And it was
there's
like,
a question of some contrast.
holy cow! Yeah, I mean,
Right,
completely.
yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievably like the best pairing I've ever come up with, and I've done that like 10 times. I gotta have a porter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you get a good English porter with a shrimp scampi. Never would have thought it.
Yeah.
For me, that just
Seafood,
blows.
the garlic, yeah.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, quick question: this was a stout.
This was a stout. Yes.
Now, it was was there Scotch in the stout?
No, it's just an age in a Scotch barrel.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify there.
That's probably
for,
where
for
we get the
everyone.
smokiness from. Is the
The barrel itself.
Yeah.
yeah.
And-
now, when they do this, obviously, I want to say the bourbon barrels that
Do they
they're
char
in.
'em?
I think they do. I think
the
that's
Scotch
a lot of
barrels,
what.
these are actual Scotch
Yeah.
barrels and bourbon barrels. Like, I mean, I know a lot of these breweries they grab them right from Jim Beam, Maker's Mark. You know what I mean? Like, they grab them from these big distilleries. So Scotch barrels are probably just as, I think you can use them twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think they're just as readily available as anything else.
That's how the whiskey gets its color, as I understand.
Yeah. So you can I think you can brew twice,
and it filters a little bit of the.
Yep.
Right. You could put a beer in there and use it twice, and then it loses its flavor.
Charcoal's a filter.
Enjoy.
Like I said, this one doesn't have that burn that the other one did. You don't have that liquor.
Right. It's much smoother.
Yes.
We normally celebrate every episode with a shot. By the time we're done with
we're in a different establishment today. I don't have the same kind of pull at 151 that I do at 20 North.
I had to throw you guys a little bit sideways today.
And then on top of it, we're going to try to go next door.
Yeah. Well,
oh, are you really?
Yeah, we're going
after whacking down these 11% beers, we'll see about that.
What's that?
I said after whacking down like these 11% beers, we should.
Oh my God!
It's no
we're
joke.
Going to stumble next door.
Right. Fortunately, it's right next door. And Kevin's slamming them here. We can't even keep up.
I know. My God.
He's a professional.
Like I said, I've been thousands and thousands of hours of training for this.
Yep. Drinking does not count for training for this.
Kevin, what'd you go to school for?
Kicking footballs.
Pretty much, yeah. Went to University of New Haven. Played football. I was actually a criminal justice major.
Well, there you go.
For about, a year. And then
I'd say that was your minor. Your major was beer drinking.
Right. Exactly.
So was mine.
Never finished.
I think 90% of the people
I got the bar. I got the bar
drinking.
business. I started bartending when I was.
It's easy, quick money.
Right.
Yeah.
21 years old.
Making good money.
I'm a graduate of the Boston Bartending School, class of '98.
There you go.
Yep. Should have a big reunion coming up soon. I don't think they do those, but that 1 week course, not for nothing, changed my life. Like
1 week.
1 week course. Yeah.
Right.
1 week was like a 9 to 5 thing.
Yeah, when I did my bartending course, I think it was 2 days.
2 days.
9 to 5.
But did you go to Boston?
No, I did not. I'm not. It's not as prestigious as Kevin's.
This was actually in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, there you go.
Right. So, but it was the Boston Bartending School. Right. So yeah,
not the Mr. Boston.
No, you learn more drinks than you'll ever sell or make. You know what I mean? It was one of those bullshit type.
But I took that class. And everybody said, yeah, it's a joke. It's 2 days. Like it's like a driving class. But. Remembering the drinks isn't the most important part. Anybody can remember drinks. But it did teach you things like the proper way, and this sounds weird, the proper way to cut fruit.
Right.
The proper glasses for the right drinks.
Right. I did learn,
simple stuff like that. Yeah.
Like that,
I mean, not just, but just like people don't realize this. They 10 bar for the first time. You grab the glass, you fill it with ice, you set it on the rail, then you go get the liquor. You don't bring the glass around to the bar and then pour into it and then bring it around. I mean,
why not?
Like simple things. I don't know. The proper way to do it is take your glass, fill it with ice, put it on the rail, then bring your liquor and drinks and then mixers to it.
Just so they can see what you're doing.
I don't know if that's the rule. I mean, I don't know if that's it. But let me tell you, when you're wandering around with a glass in your hand, just pouring liquor into it from the back bar, it doesn't look too slick.
Especially on a busy night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you didn't want to do that. But those things, like just the simple basics that people who've never bartended before just don't realize that you're set you up for the rest of the day. I'm just saying, not that it was some sort of, I didn't go to the Harvard Business School of bartending, but I will say this: it's certainly those basics have taught me very well in all my endeavors in the bar business. Sure. Like I said, you can memorize all the drinks you want, but just the basics of simple stuff like cutting fruit, proper glasses.
Some is just etiquette.
I'd just like to point out too. I mean, you guys may not realize it because that's what you guys do. But I'm sitting right now at a table with 2 legend bartenders in the Schenectady area.
I didn't realize your girlfriend was a bartender.
She's not.
Oh, all right.
She works in the law and justice field.
I don't know about myself, but it's funny about the bartending school thing. The one thing I learned that actually paid off for me, literally paid off. They told me one thing. This guy was talking about martinis, and old timers have a very specific martini thing, right?
Yep.
So one guy asked me one
like a
time
fingerprint.
For a whisper of vermouth. Do you know what a whisper of vermouth is?
A whisper? I would say you're just waving it right over it.
Okay, so pass the bottle, around the, there's different versions, whatever. A whisper of vermouth is you take the bottle, you clink it right next to the glass, and you actually whisper vermouth.
I've never heard that. That's hilarious.
And I actually got like $20 tip for that one drink. He's like, "Good job, kid." This guy was like 7 years old. He probably just took his whole, Social Security moment for the week.
So it's similar to the wave it over. People have said, just wave the bottle of vermouth over it. Just wave it over it, and you're good.
It's like paying homage.
Maybe get some vermouth molecules in it. Hopefully,
washed ice. You know what I mean? Like you just want to, pour out the.
People are very particular about that. Like you
don't see that very often anymore. Most people are just.
People are fruit. Are vodka and whatever mixer. Nobody's really into.
And now they want cheese. Blue cheese stuffed olives and all these other crazy things.
Get out of here.
You want a Bloody Mary with a Big Mac on top and
with a shrimp, and a piece, wrapped in a piece of bacon or whatever. Yeah.
Can I get a chicken wing on top of my gin and tonic?
Can I get a Bloody Mary with a strawberry sundae on top? Yeah. I mean, it's crazy right now.
All right, so what's our next beer?
We digress there. We apologize to the listeners.
All right, we're just waiting for Dave to finish his. I mean,
you're waiting me to finish beer? Don't worry about that.
By the way, I mean, like this Founder's Backwoods Bastard bottle. I mean, is that not dated?
That's
in like
artwork.
10 years?
Oh my god!
I mean, seriously.
Come on, man! It looks like Gandalf the Grey.
So
yeah,
do you?
So pretty much, right?
Well, now that I've got my picture taken for the thing, so now everybody's gonna know what I look like.
It's perfect. I think you just change it to this guy right there.
Have you seen that photo I posted of you and Pete on Instagram?
No, Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that a serious?
You're on the gram. Yeah.
I'm not on the Instagram. My picture must be.
Your picture and you and Pete.
I see.
Listen, Dave's been avoiding the grid for the last 10 years, and you're just totally blowing it up for him, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, we talked about it last week. I was like, we're now on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook.
He expected me to be all excited about it. I cringed. I'm like, oh, jeez.
He's like, well, some of us is doing that work, not me.
Yeah.
Give it a month. Dave's going to be commenting on my kids' back-to-school picks. He's going to come full circle. Watch.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, guys. Now I got something a little bit special.
This is the beer you saved for like a holiday.
Yeah,
this is private stock right here.
This is from my basement.
We should feel blessed, I think.
Yeah.
We're getting the real deal.
We're going to see how this goes. So, Sticky Monkey.
What's the brewing company?
It's from Firestone Walker.
Did you
the people that
trademark it? Yeah. I mean, you make sure you put the trademark shout out
anymore
for legality issues.
But we still like their beer. But this is a Central Coast Quad.
Explain to them what quad is, because you were explaining to me because I had no idea.
All right, so
that's how legendary I am.
Okay, so Belgian beer. There's a ton of different Belgian beers. It's such a wide variety, from sours to doubles and triples.
Okay, quickly, I'm going to stop you.
Yep.
What makes a Belgian beer?
Belgian beer is because it's from Belgium.
But is there a particular ingredient in there?
It's a country
that
in Europe,
makes
Dave.
it.
Yes,
I've heard of it. I think Hercule Poirot's from there.
Yes, they have a very.
You educated us on this last week.
Right.
That's why I knew.
I know, I'm just busting his balls. They have a very unique yeast strain that's very, very spicy.
Okay.
Everything's got, from saisons to. And all their yeast strains are very, bubble gum and, there's all sorts of stuff going on in their yeast. Like you get something very sweet. It's unique. You can't do an IPA. I mean, they have, Belgian pale ales, but you can't brew normal beer with this stuff. You know what I mean? Or
you're saying the yeast wouldn't go well. That particular yeast wouldn't go well with a really piney, citrusy hops.
Just
wouldn't. Okay, that's fine.
You could. It's not going to be you can't use their yeast and try to recreate Sam Adams or Harpoon IPA. It just won't work.
Right.
You know
okay.
So a lot of these beers, they get their flavor from the yeast, and it's not from the hops.
Okay. Now getting back to it, a quad.
Yes. Okay. So
means 4.
Sorry, I interrupted
doubles,
you.
Triples.
Is it Latin? I don't know. Okay.
Most of these are Trappist beers, meaning they're made by monks.
Right.
They can be made otherwise now, and that's a lot of times you get different names for them or whatever. But a double per se is very, you're looking like the 6 to 7% alcohol range, very fruity, prune, cherries, stone fruits. You know what I mean? Then you got a triple. Triple is a little bit lighter in color, lighter malt, but a lot of candy sugar, a lot of spiciness goes into these too. It's
like
very,
a fall.
Yeah, very, very unique set, and those are a little higher in alcohol. But the quads are 9.1 to usually 13 or 14% alcohol.
What is this one?
This is a quad, and this.
What did it start off at least? Because
I don't know what it started out of. But they start off with that's the base beer.
Yeah.
But this ends up at 12.5.
Well, the reason why I say starts because when you bought it was a 12.5.
12.5. But this is 3 years old. So why I say this is a white whale, right?
It ages like a wine,
right?
Like
exactly.
most, a lot of beers, people don't realize that obviously most beers you don't want to do that with.
Right, exactly.
Your Bud Light, you don't want to sit in your basement for 3 years.
So with oxidation, going into this beer and just the sugar, the yeast still actually eating at these beers a little bit. I mean, it could be 13%. You know what I mean? Like it could be higher than what we're actually.
So we started at a 12. We may be higher.
Higher.
I know that you have not tried this beer yet, and you're not 100% if it aged well. I'll tell you right now, my nose doesn't lie, and it aged well.
It did. Okay, so I mean, sometimes these beers age like soy sauce. So you never know what's going to happen right now. I love that we have like a little bit of a little mystery here, but again, you're going to get.
It's like playing Russian roulette.
You're going to get really high alcohol. There's definitely going to be some heat on this, and you're going to get a lot of stone fruits, stuff like that, and you'll get that Belgian yeast, absolutely for sure. So give it a shot, guys.
All right, here we go. It is on the verge. I see what you're saying when you mentioned that it could go. It could go. It didn't go, but I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, I actually don't think it went bad at all. I think this is very, very strong and.
So is this what people would think of when you think of a Trappist beer, right here?
It is strong.
Well, one of them. I mean, yeah, absolutely. A style, yeah.
And it was Sticky Monkey?
This is called Sticky Monkey, yeah. But this is, I wouldn't say this would be what people expect because it's
now you called it a quad, but technically, what kind of beer is it?
It's a quad
Belgian
Asian
ale.
Well, Belgian dark ale.
Okay.
Quad. I mean, you're looking at that same type of category.
Just for the benefit of the listeners,
I'm sure there's somebody that's a Belgian expert that'll rip me apart. I'm using what I know from my experience.
Since this is your white whale and it's been sitting in your
I'm pretty
basement,
happy with it.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Like I said, my nose doesn't lie. It was pretty good. Or is good. I still got a lot more to go. But the question that I'm about to ask is, can our listeners be able to find this beer, and where do they go to find this beer?
So go to Kevin's house in the basement. It's on the left.
Actually, I drank most of them, so you're not going to find much down anymore. I used to have a really good collection, and then I just started to be like, you know what? I'm not going to wait. I'm going to start drinking this stuff. So this one is one of the few that actually made it through the move to the new house and everything. So it
made the
crazy.
move without getting busted.
Yeah, it did.
Or
drank. In celebration. Right. But yeah, I mean, Glenville Beverages got a great selection of stuff. These were really hard to come by. They might get a couple cases a year. Every year. Do you know what I mean? So if you can find anything from Firestone, their barrel-aged stuff, grab it because everything they make is great.
Where are they located?
They're out in California.
Oh.
Yeah, they're out in California, and I've never had a bad beer out of there. And they don't try to jump the shark and go crazy. That's true, Dave. Two happy days to jump the sharks.
Sorry,
I was going to see how many times I could actually, fit that in.
We got time. Maybe we can sneak it in a couple more times.
But everything they do is very good. They've got a blonde barley wine called Eldorado, and you don't think,
that's awesome.
And you don't think barley wine blonde, but they use all malt, all blonde malt or light malts, and they use rum barrels. And the coconut and vanilla that comes out of this beer, and it's another 11%er. It is just absolutely delicious. You sip that, and it's not something you're going to chug, but this is one of the best beers I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
But you can't find it. You know what I mean? Like I've had it a couple times. I've been lucky.
Do they make it in limited quantities, or is it just?
It's limited. It's very limited quantities, right? So I mean, you see Founders. Like I said, Founders has a huge production thing, and you can get KBS anytime now. KBS used to be once a year. It was gone in a week.
Yeah.
And now you got CBS. You can get CBS now, and CBS is another one. It was the Canadian breakfast stout with maple syrup. And you can get that anytime, And they started getting a little crazy, with, trying to expand their whole portfolio with, like, this Lizard of Cod, which is like a blueberry and vanilla. And it just didn't work with a lot of the bourbon stuff. You know what I mean?
But they tried it. You know what I mean? You got to give them credit. Like, I like to see that brewers will make an attempt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You gave it a shot. You try something else.
Right. But these, I have to say that, in my opinion, Firestone Walker is the best bourbon agent.
I will say this beer is excellent. It might be my favorite of the three.
Yeah, mine too. I don't know how much of a summer beer I would.
Definitely not a summer
winter.
Beer. Right.
Yeah, I can see myself
it's
snowboarding.
Definitely got a little sweetness.
Like going out in the mountain, trying to work that chill off.
Right. Again, I want to throw you guys sideways today. You know what I mean? Like it's summertime. Why would I do summer beers? I'm going to go winter, right?
This definitely warms the core.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, we're talking. You can even taste the heightened alcohol. I mean, most people say you can't taste it, but you definitely, you're drinking something with a little more kick when you take a sip of this.
But the nice thing is, I think you when you taste it, the smoothness of it. And
Yes.
again, a lot of it's with the barrel age, stuff like that. When you have something oxidized and it's naturally going to have air in there and whatever, it actually does give some complementary notes to some of these like darker beers, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't really affect it, where hops break down and some get stuff really like nasty and it actually breaks the beer down. Yeah. These are all actually almost complementary, you know what I mean? Because of the high alcohol and everything like that.
Now, is it meant to be aged? If you buy it, is it meant to be aged?
It is.
Okay,
anything,
so
well, I mean, everything's. Some say that you should drink everything right from
away.
the brewery, and there's two schools of thought. You should never age anything under like 8%. So, but I mean, and it shouldn't have a lot of hops in it. Mm-hmm. So barley wines are perfect. Yeah. Any kind of barley wine, you know what I mean? Age it for just a regular barley wine. Doesn't have to be bourbon aged, anything like that. High alcohol, age it, it'll get better over time. A year, 2 years. I mean, Sierra Nevada's got a great barley wine, and they say don't drink it until a year. You know what I mean? Like that's when it's actually at its peak. You know what I mean? Right. So, it's really up to you. You know what I mean? And then how long do you age it? I think 2 to 3 years is like perfect. You know what I mean? I actually had a Chimay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I had a Chimay strong dark ale, and we had it. I had it in my father-in-law's basement for like 3 years. I forgot about it, and we took it down to Brooklyn Brewery one time when I was on a little road trip with Eric Badraki and Richie Hayes and some of the DeCrescendo legends of craft beer.
Legends of yore.
Right, exactly. And we cracked it open. We chilled it. We cracked it open. I was like, we couldn't believe how freaking good this beer was. We're like, this has been sitting down, it's like, and we hit it at the peak, I think. You know what I mean? Like 2 to 3 years, and we looked it up, and it was like, that's perfect. You know what I mean? So you don't want to go 10 years, 20 years. I mean, some are good, some are bad.
So what if what if we bought like a couple cases now, and it became like a wine? You know how like bottles of wine, if they're like 80 years old, like maybe we should invest.
You can buy aged beer. You can buy aged KBS.
Yeah?
You can buy look online. You can
really?
buy stuff. Jay from Hunters, and Jay's a good friend of all of
ours.
ours.
I saw last night,
right.
Great guy.
And he's got some stuff down his basement
really?
For years. He's got kegs. He's got I actually have a keg of Sticky Monkey from this past year that I have in our cooler.
Oh, nice.
That I'm waiting. I'm going to wait a year for it. You know what I mean? Like let's wait a year, and I'll let you guys.
So
know
if you guys need it out there, you know where to break into. It's,
there you go.
It's right here.
152.
Well, here's the deal. It's
Lafayette Street.
Here's the deal. It's still quarantined, so
right.
But thank you for bringing those beer, especially that last beer, and I know your little special reserve there.
Yeah.
Now when you
celebrate
celebrate your anniversary, it's gone.
I was happy to do it because honestly, I don't have people that actually can appreciate. You know what I mean? Like, I bring it over to my neighbors, and they're drinking seltzers right now, and I'm just like, hey, try this.
Hey, there's anything wrong with that.
You'll never catch me drinking a seltzer.
Yeah, nice try.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with them, but when you want to appreciate
right
a good beer, you appreciate you like when somebody can appreciate it with you.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. And you know what? You and I were kind of talking about this, getting out of the car and working our way over here. Everything we do is we're basically flying by the seat of our pants. We didn't really have a whole lot of anticipation to what we wanted to do when we decided we wanted to do a podcast. We've discussed this in podcast 1. Dave and I have had a lot of great conversations about many of different things, especially alcohol. So when we're getting out of the car, I think what I'm starting to feel is that I would like to build a 518 pride as far as craft beer goes. And I think there's a Facebook group out there called 518 Brews. Definitely, I want to give them a shout out. If you're listening to our podcast and you are not a member of that group, hunt them down and find them, or leave me a message on the Capital Brew Podcast Facebook page, and I can send you an invite from that page. But our goal is to kind of bring people together. I want to start bringing Albany, Schenectady, Troy, all of us in the 518 together and celebrate the different types of beers. And it takes people like you to show us stuff that we didn't know.
Oh yeah, wait, I've heard of the founders, and I've heard of that's the one we did was Backwoods Bastard. But are there other beers that are similar to that by
absolutely.
founders?
There's a ton of them out there.
All right.
It's pretty awesome. But what I want to say, going on your point, Timmy is awesome over at 518 Brews. I mean, he's doing a great job with everything he's doing. He's really taking this and building community around here with beer lovers and everything like that. And he's been awesome.
Haven't reached out to him. I plan on it at some point in time. I'd love to have him sit down with us.
Yeah,
and kind of discuss.
Yeah, and
I think it would be a good guest. I mean, if fair to say that he probably has maybe a better handle on what's going on than you and I just getting together and just talking beers. Might be helpful.
Absolutely, but I just want to speak to the community of Schenectady alone, because I think that it shows you right now, like we're talking about Jay from Hunters, and me and Dave have always been good friends, and there's no animosity, with bars against each other, which
does
rare.
happen, yes, which happens a lot. There's they can't wait to tattle on each other when somebody's doing something wrong because they're hurt because they can't do it. And it does. I mean, you see what can happen. It can be very catty. Is that the term?
Yeah, absolutely.
The bar business can be very catty.
We don't copy each other, like oh, this guy's got something on tap. Everybody can run their business how they want, but at the same time, there's so much variety. We try to complement each other rather than just fight each other.
There's plenty to go around. There's plenty of people to keep us all in business. There's no reason to.
Right, but we've got such great places. You got Mohawk Tap Room and Jane, Hunters that are pretty much, I'd say, the premier craft bars. What I mean? Along with Center Street's got a great craft lineup. 20 North, Katie's, but we all have different lineups. You know what I mean? We all kind of do our own thing. We're not trying to beat the other guy. We're not trying to, it's all complementary. We do
you
we
get
do
a lot
pub
more
crawls
done
together.
Yeah,
right?
You do a lot more cooperating than you do competing. I think
and
a lot.
The whole goal is just to build Schenectady up. And Frog Alley's got a huge complex over there. So we're gonna have the biggest brewery, like pretty much in New York. When the time they're done. And there's tons of apartments. There's new people coming down here, and it's all going to help everybody. What I mean? People bring people.
People bring people, exactly.
Right. And
as
the
long
more
as you got
people
the
that come
here,
down here,
more people want to come.
Right. I love that we're next to a brewery. Great Flats. It's great. And you know what? We carry one of their beers. Sometimes we don't carry, all the time. You go next door for Great Flats. You come here and want to show you some other New York beers too. You know what I mean? We try to keep one of theirs on, as much as possible, but we like to rotate stuff up as much as possible too. So.
Yeah, for sure.
We try to support everybody, and that's pretty much, I think, the goal of downtown. Is let's all of us grow.
As long as people are down here, that's the key. Is they can walk, literally walk.
We talked about it.
We talked about it.
Right.
They can walk. 10 minutes.
Some of us a little bit better than others.
Yeah, walk 10 minutes and be able to enjoy six different bars. You know what I mean? But the key to it is getting the people to come to the downtown area.
Right, absolutely.
Once you've got them down here, or once you've got the people wanting to come down here, the rest falls into place. That means they're gonna find a place they want to spend time at. They can say, hey, this one's not really my speed. You can go someplace else, or listen, we're gonna go meet somebody elsewhere. There's a lot of options now. You can park in one spot and not have to worry about getting back in your car to find somebody else or find someplace you're going. You literally can park once and hit. 10 different places.
You can go right down State Street. You can go up Union Street. You can go down Broadway. You can come right here.
That's a luxury we have that, Clifton Park doesn't have.
That's for sure.
That's something.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's so funny. Even far away, they fight like cats and dogs up there.
True.
It's
very true.
Pretty funny.
But
the nature of the beast, usually.
And like I said, I know for sure. Are you from Schenectady?
I am not.
Okay. That's fine. I had a conversation yesterday with Dave from The Ruck, and he's a guy I definitely want to have. Yeah, The Ruck and Troy, one of
legend.
Yeah, oh for sure.
That's pretty much the measuring stick for a great craft bar.
Yes,
they really are. He focused on that way before anybody focused on that, and that guy is a legend. He really is. Yeah.
I talked to him yesterday, and I was telling you, so I wanted to wait until the podcast. I want to get him down here to Great Flats. And when we do our, if we do a Great Flats episode, I love to have Dave from.
We certainly will. We certainly will get over there and try some of their beers.
Sure. Even if we don't interview anybody.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have Dave come down with us, and then also he has the relationship that you guys have with Great Flats and
Rare Form.
Rare Form. So they're in his backyard. And he's produced so many great bartenders and people in the industry like Nuzzy, and so it's going to be great. I really want to start to pull together the different crowds from the different 518 areas. And one of the things that he pointed out yesterday is that he that it almost seems like it's a transplant kind of area, the 518. And I said, that's great, that's fine. The reason why it's okay that if people are here that are transplants, because the quality of beer that we have, we're gonna make some fans. People are always gonna remember the beer that we have here in the 518. And even if they leave us or they're just here for a short amount, there's still gonna be 518ers. There's still gonna be Single Cut fans. There's still gonna be Frog Alley fans. There's still gonna be Wolf Hollow fans for the rest of their lives, because we have such great talent here in the 518.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, it's just getting better and better. I mean, you look back.
It's great for us, the consumer, as well.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, that's a situation where it maybe not necessarily competition breeds better beer, but it's people who care about making beer. It's not so much like, hey, bottom line, we want to make money, we want to sell beer. A lot of these breweries their main concern is making a good beer.
As
first.
you said last week, taking the chances,
making a good beer. Then if it works out, then of course the other things fall into place. But I like the fact that a lot of these breweries' attitude is quality of beer first, and then we'll worry about other stuff second.
For sure,
I think
for sure.
Founders had that attitude in the beginning. And you look at all their high alcohol, all these different crazy beers that they made, and it's like brewed for us. They basically had this. They started doing this whole thing when they first started, and I love that new brewers are doing that kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, F everybody else, and like, we're gonna make beer for us. If you like it, great. Come on, enjoy it. If you don't, whatever. I mean,
I think that's Coors down the street. Go ahead.
Exactly right. I mean, and you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of people trying new stuff and trying some really fun stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I love what Frog Alley's doing. Their FNA IPA. You know what I mean? It's a great double IPA. You know what I mean? Next Door is doing some really fun stuff. I mean, some super high alcohol stuff. Mad Jack takes some chances with some, different, different
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but also, how about, you guys talked about no animosity between bars. How about breweries? How many times have we seen in our area collaborations between different brewers, from Back Barn to...
I'm wearing the shirt right now.
All the time.
You realize that?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, these are the beers that these guys made together.
Yeah,
they're all on the back. Obviously I can't see it, so I can't tell you.
But exactly,
I mean, it's there's just, like I said, there's camaraderie around here. You know what I mean? Like,
518 love, pride.
There really is. It's not even the 518. It's the Schenectady. I mean, I think we all stick together, and again, we're on a big group text. We're talking about the whole. The guidelines from Cuomo and everything like that, and we're all in this one big thing for like most of our
trying to help each other out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and we hey, if there's a checkpoint, if there's an SLA raid,
around,
you know what I mean, something like that, we communicate with each other. We try to just help each other any way we can. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And we all end up in Dave's place, in normal times. And
I've been there after hours.
Right.
Sorry, you're stuck with me.
So, I mean, I think I said one time, I said, you know what, I could probably sleep here, Dave, if I really had to. And you're like, absolutely, go
ahead. I've had Mike Mazgawa do it. Actually, I'm like, listen, you got a key. I'm leaving. There he was, sleeping right in the booth.
It's a good thing you got those really uncomfortable wood booths.
Yes, I figured that would obviously.
Are they originals?
My father made them. Actually,
did he?
No, they're not originals. Oh. Yeah, the original ones were not. Weren't really adequate for like dining. They were just more like for drinking at.
Well, we've gotten a lot bigger as people.
Yes. Oh my God! Tell me about it.
Since the last time it was a bar.
Yeah, we had to readjust the booth width.
We're taller. We're wider.
Yeah. Yep.
We got more beers to drink.
We don't, but I will tell a story. I'm just saying, probably ended up the first time I met Dave. So I was a sales rep for maybe a month, but he was never in the daytime. He worked the night. Yeah. And Dave had his head at 20 North.
At 20,
right? So Dave had his head down at the first booth. It was a long night. It was late night. And I was like, Dave, hey, I'm your salesman. He perked up real quick. He goes, Kevin Mcclurken.
Yeah, it was one of those nights that we
he had a few shots of Jameson before, and
we all occasionally have. It's it happens to the best of us.
But he knew my name, and we've been really good friends ever since. So.
Yep, a lot of good times.
Cheers to that.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, Dave. I mean, we see this guy driving around on a Ferrari here out in front of 151. That's Derek, a friend of mine, who said, you know what, Dave from Rupsis has got his own bar now. So we got to go check it out.
Dave from Rupsis. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, I know. You and Eric. So it was Benny, who owns Downtown Print Shop, Lauren, who worked at different bars here in the years ago, and Derek said we're going down to 20 North, and that was the first time I met you. I think Derek actually introduced me. How crazy is that we can remember the exact moment that we've met, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought I'd have that kind of impact on people.
Actually, I can tell you the first time I think I met you, outside of my past job. Before that, you had a guy I used to work with in radio, Brian
Oswald. Right.
Oh,
he was here, and we were.
Me and Brian are still tight.
God.
Yeah.
I see him.
down in Manhattan.
I still see him. Yeah, great guy.
Oh,
Great
the
guy.
Oswald family.
Oh, great people.
They've done a lot for
Dude,
the
great
518.
people.
Absolutely. Legendary family.
I've known
Yes,
Bob.
absolutely.
Great people.
I knew Bob.
Yep. Unfortunately,
he-
Bob's not with us anymore.
Yeah, he used to be my boss, and
Great guy.
Yeah, I can't think of a nicer family.
Great guy.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, guys. We went very, very long on this.
Yeah.
This
Might
is going
have
to be
break it up. Or
we'll
just
decide.
or force our customers to listen for longer.
The whole thought process between the length of the podcast that we do is that I want people to be able to listen on the way to work.
Yes.
This one is perfectly long enough where they can start it on the way to work and finish it on the way home.
Well, all
There
right.
you go. Perfect.
Or
Okay.
maybe they just get bored and turn it to something else.
Hopefully not. We have a lot of good conversation, a lot of good stories in here. So thank
stuff,
you,
man.
Kevin, so much.
No problem.
Yes,
Thank you for
thank
having
you.
me, guys.
That was
Really
excellent.
happy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Anytime you guys want, I'll
we
gladly
will do
bring-
this again.
I
Yes.
will gladly bring some high octane beers for you.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
we'll do it
as
again.
long as there's more beer in your basement, we'll be here.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week. Next week, I don't know. We could do. We might be doing a brewery. We might be sitting with another bar owner. Who knows?